Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatsoid, 10th Man, Mind Warped, and a whole bunch of people on Discord, but I'll say hello to you chaps first. Hello, those of you in Google+.
Hello.
G'day.
Hello. I'm going to rush to share the Discord link as I didn't actually do it. So let's get that done. Anybody going to hopefully run us through housekeeping after I've introduced a few of the people on Discord? So in your mind, prepare yourself. So hello to Dougie. Have you?
What up?
Hello. And Red, how you doing?
What's going on?
And Rodney B, also good to have you.
I'll start it off if you're ready.
No, one more. Hello, Righteous Force.
Hey.
Ping Pong never says hello. He'll be the first to get kicked to the after show.
Where's Danny?
Where's Zanik? I have no idea. I'm not his keeper.
Is the deal coming up? Is the deal coming on? Yeah. Debate about Corvallis or something. Anyway, carry on.
I think he wakes up later.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
No, there is definitely a link to join in the info box now, though, but no signs of Earth curve.
Oh.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope, not measurable.
Not here.
Nope.
Let's keep it going. Got to get this
any
into a routine.
What's that? I talked over you, Nathan. I'm sorry. I was going to say.
I said we've got to get this a
R
bit more
value.
snappy. Just get it into a bit more of a routine. So, just keep firing them out till we're through with them.
Any scientific evidence of the R value?
No, just a lot of presuppositions.
No R value. Presupposed.
Discord, any evidence of R?
Any gas pressure without its antecedent?
No, no demonstrations of gas pressure without a container, unfortunately. Shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes. Says congrats on 900 shows. Hit the super chat and share and show support. Well, thank you very much, Unicorn Laser Eyes. Appreciate the support and thank you very much for the super chat. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Still disappointing, no?
Any scientific evidence for gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
If we define it as relative density, it is everywhere.
Just one more, I think. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No, I don't feel us moving.
Hey, Chocolate saying, good to have you.
Good morning.
Very, very quiet. I don't know if your mic's not quite plugged in properly. Good to have you anyway, Chocolate. Does it feel like a week since your excellent appearance on Iron Realm? No, brother. Seems like ages ago.
Well, I guess I got something quick to share. You know, I noticed ballers now, they're very careful to avoid using the R value for like anything. So even for the ISS, they say they can do it without the R value because of the small distance. And then I realized, why don't they use like one of the states that's known to be flat, like all around, to do the trig for the ISS? Or would that be too much of a admittance of flatness or whatever?
Absolutely. Shout out to Sean Tibbetts, says keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the super chat, Sean. Really appreciate your support. Yeah, maybe it's a crossover point. I've said this on a couple of shows ago, where the rhetoric's got to change. You know, scientific discovery dictates that we aren't in their version of reality with spinning balls flying through vacuums. And if we're aware of it, because science has proven it, then that is the direction common and consensus and scientific community, all those bullshit buzzwords, that's where that's actually going to be going. Academia know what's what in terms of true scientific discovery and what it's driving in terms of technology, but there's going to have to be a relinquishment, if that's the correct word, of the old bullshit. We can't retain heliocentrism and Einsteinian principles. They cannot be retained. They've been debunked by modern scientific understandings. So I think us working through this transitional period and people slowly relinquishing things like R values and Earth-based curvature and all these bullshit things that are essentially a hijacking of perspective, they'll slowly fade away. And if you can't use those things to prove a sphere world, then you can't prove a sphere world. Every single demonstration or claim to be proof of a sphere world starts with that presupposition of an R value. It starts with you on a sphere. And if you can't use it, then we're not on a sphere.
Yeah, you just peel it layer by layer off.
Yeah. If they're not presupposing sphericity, they're not in their mind at least proving sphericity, because that's the only way they can prove it. We're not on a sphere. The only way to win those arguments is have us all presupposing we're on a sphere at the start of each argument. And then it doesn't matter what you argue about. You can argue about your calculator outcome. It's presupposing sphericity. So they always used to win, because they were always getting us to presuppose sphericity. We don't do it anymore. That's why we ask for evidence of the R value, and why they've realised what a devastating argument that is when they use it. That's why red rhetoric will never come here.
Well, they've changed their verbiage on a few things already. The curve in the old days was, hey, just look out, the ship's disappearing. Now you got Neil deGrasse saying you got to be 50 miles up. So they've already changed that one.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back one step further in the bullshit that we have to fight against at the moment, because we've got a non-force force that you can think of as a force being declared with the old rhetoric of Reverend John Michel and Cavendish gravity, completely superseded by Einstein, completely superseded by quantum mechanics. So we've just two steps back in the old rhetoric versus the old rhetoric versus the new rhetoric. Now, the old rhetoric wasn't based on science. There was no scientific empiricism lent to Einstein. That's why you have pseudo-Riemannian force space and conceptual mediums like space-time. Conceptual, not real. Well, you know, none of that's useful. Well, hopefully we'll move forward and actually pay more attention to what is reality and what is just models and rhetoric and priests telling you about a sphere world in a vacuum, which we don't live on.
Well, the curve changed, gravity changed. What's next, Coriolis?
Well, was it Righteous Force that said they're relinquishing or attempting to prove their arguments without presupposing R? Because if that's the case, this is the beginning of the end for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, I'm starting to hear that there's some of them are having problems with the 8-inch per mile squared. Apparently that's becoming a problem.
Yeah, we have the same problem.
Some of them are trying to say that it's not right. So, see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be arguing amongst themselves while this transitional period occurs. We're all good with it, right? We all know what's what already. But for the people that are zealots, it's going to be a tough journey. It's going to be a lot of tears.
That's That's going to be great. Yeah, people need to wake up, ask the right questions.
From what I heard last night from one of these morons hangouts, apparently they want to start talking to the physicists and the astrophysicists and all of those guys and start telling them to not tell people that gravity is not a force because it's messing up their little paradigm. It's confusing people, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure they can get those scientific bullshitters, otherwise known as pseudoscientists, to just change their mind based on the consensus disapproval of the current rhetoric. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it, really? How much consensus approves of what they say.
Basically.
Just to obey my own rules of not using sarcasm, science doesn't care what people think or say or believe or what the majority think, feel, say or feel. It makes absolutely no difference to an established cause.
That's why it's empirical. But like you said, it's a loosely worded term that everybody throws around. The science of a toaster, the science of this car, this science, that science. We're talking about natural world and natural phenomenon for the empirical method, and they don't keep it in that narrow hallway. They use it for everything.
Hey, Arwin.
Hello.
What's up, Carl?
Oh yeah, just
It's like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, the good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it.
Yeah. And that might well be true, but he's not a scientist. He's a pseudoscientist, an astrophysicist. He's not establishing cause. He's not following hypothesis. He's not observing. The closest he comes to the scientific method is observation of phenomena. That's it. One step. First step only. Beyond that, nothing but just so stories. Make it up as you go along. But then declare something true, which is science, which he absolutely proclaims to be, is right whether you like it or not. Well, no. Science, established cause through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis after observing a phenomena. Yeah, that's right whether you like it or not. Your bullshit that you tell us about the lights twinkling in the sky, that's just bullshit that you made up.
yep, that about sums it up.
Very quiet, Arwin.
He's been out of the limelight for a while.
You're very quiet, Arwin.
Am I now?
No, that's better. That's better.
Supposedly, Neil deGrasse Tyson said something else that was interesting. To be scientifically literate is to empower yourself to know when someone else is full of bullshit.
Can you say that once
And
more?
it's true.
Say that once more.
All right. To be scientifically literate, is to empower yourself to know when someone else is full of bullshit. And it's true. Once we figured out the scientific method, we can spot so much more bullshit now.
Yeah, that's his Masonic duping delight. Let them know that if they actually knew what science was, you'd be able to debunk every just so story I ever blurt out.
Like the field goal?
I was waiting for someone else to say it. Yes, absolutely correct.
Well, if it moves under the football, it's got to move under a plane, Neil.
Well, no. No. With Neil, no. I would take a very different approach. So, let's say, for the sake of argument, he was stood here now, or he joined the panel. Oh, hi, Neil deGrasse Tyson. have you validated that which you presumed was the cause of the effect you tweeted? The effect being a field goal being made. The cause you asserted being Earth-based Coriolis. How did you scientifically validate that cause and effect relationship? Because obviously that will fall into science, and you do declare yourself as a scientist. So have you validated that to be the cause of that effect, which you claim to have observed? Oh, what's that? You haven't? Oh, so it's just a bullshit story you made up? Oh, that's very interesting.
It's just a correlation.
Well, Nathan, it was just a few mathematical equations. That's how I got it.
Yeah, so maths isn't science, Mr. Tyson. You must vary and manipulate that which you presume causes the effect to validate it is indeed the cause of the effect. That's science. Working something out mathematically, that's maths.
But wait, have you guys not seen how cool I was dropping that microphone?
Yeah, it was more dense than the air.
But it was cool, right? It was cool.
Still waiting for the cause of gravity, though. No one can tell me what it is.
Yeah, he picked up the mic. Had he not have done that, the mic wouldn't have moved a smegging inch. But he picked it up and then dropped it.
Equilibrium.
Yeah, it was in equilibrium till he picked it up. Like a magic trick, isn't it?
I got an interesting little factoid I'd like to share.
Ooh, yes, please.
Yes. Concerning the mic drop thing that Tyson did, right? It was actually quite a basic but ingenious piece of wizardry. Because look here, mic drop, according to Wikipedia. A mic drop is the gesture of intentional dropping one's microphone at the end of a performance or speech to signal triumph. Figuratively, it is an expression of triumph for a successful event and indicates a boastful attitude towards one's performance. That's it. See how they put it in there. It was pretty sophisticated, really.
So it's all symbolic. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's what they used to do at the end of a rap battle. So you'd have a rap battle. It's obviously improvised rap. If you've done well, instead of handing the mic to your opponent, you drop it on the floor as if to say, fuck you, pick up the mic.
Yeah. So now you see where that came from and why it has this weight. Because there's so much tie-in in social symbolism. It's pretty smart, actually.
I'd ask him the same question. Hey, Mr. Tyson, did you validate that which you presumed was the cause of that effect? What did you apply? What, not science? Just bullshit? Good sciencing there, Mr. deGrasse Tyson.
It became prevalent in the 80s among rappers and comedians. How about that?
I like to tell him I feel bad because all the Globers are throwing him under the bus because of his statement of you can't see curvature at 128,000 feet. So sorry for you. All your loyal servants are throwing you under the bus. Sad story.
Don't worry. There's a new thing going around, actually. Low pressure is not a vacuum of space. It's now positive pressure.
Well, that's
that
always the case.
Stuff is flat.
That was always the case, though. So pressure itself is what's going to cause the rapid expansion into the void of what is declared to be a vacuum. So positive pressure, there is no negative pressure. There's an absence of any particles with energy. Well, that would be a vacuum.
Well, in relation to Earth, it would be negative to Earth's atmosphere. So obviously, I would know.
There is no negative pressure. There's an absence of energy. So you either have energy bashing on things, causing pressure, or you don't. But you don't have an inverse of that. There's no negative.
There's no negative pressure. There's only there might be potential pressure differential.
Yeah.
Awesome sound you got there going on, Flatzoid.
Sorry, I'm busy washing a car. Yeah.
Speaking of pressure, I was actually watching a video this morning. I've got it. I can share it and show it to you. Where the guy puts water in a vacuum chamber, and he starts to remove the air from there, and it seems like the temperature drops because he puts a thermometer in the water, and he talks about how entropy is causing the temperature to drop in the water as it's starting to boil off. I thought that was interesting compared to some of the conversations we've had yesterday over the last few days.
Yeah,
I'll share it.
There's energy in the water, although it's bonded, and it's being resisted to a certain extent by the air pressure itself. And if you remove that pressure, then the energy's got nothing resisting it in the water. Hence, it just breaks apart. It breaks from its bonds.
Okay, here it is.
Don't play it. Yeah, you know the score.
If you could see, this is probably before the water starts to boil. You can see the temperature up in the right-hand corner. I'll move it a little bit further down. And if you noticed, I moved it just a couple of frames, and the temperature in the water dropped inside the vacuum chamber. See if I can do it again. See if it goes. Oh, it went down to even more. See, the more he removes it, the more the temperature reduces. See that? Oh wow, it even goes down. I've not saw the very end of it, but you can see it even goes down even more. So
is that 7 or point? Is it 0.7 or 7?
Hang on, I'll see. It looks like it's. I can't really tell. It's hard to see. It might be.
Like
it might be 0.7.
Looks like 0.7.
Either way, it's definitely dropped, which is your point. Let's not get bogged down with this. Yes, indeed, Paul.
So really, that's back to what Spurs and this Dave guy was talking about. This has, I mean, the temperature dropped because the pressure dropped. So how do they account for that?
Well, we've been saying it for ages. The two are intrinsically linked.
Right, but they were saying it's temperature.
No. That's not true. It's the change of pressure. It's the pressure differential that actually causes the heat transfer.
You still need a container.
Well,
so it's a side effect. It's not the effect.
Yes, pressure is one of the changeables. I mean, on thermal expansion, it says that.
A pressure does not change the temperature. It's when the pressure changes when temperature anomalies start to occur.
Yes, more energy.
Maybe you're a bit too close to your mic or something, Flatzoid. You're causing loads of sibilance and popping and plosives.
Sorry, I'll keep quiet now.
You for some reason fine when you're saying you'll not talk, but when you're engaged in conversation, it's just popping your mic. I don't know if you're a bit close.
Well, I found what Spurs and Double D, Dallas David, were saying was a good conversation, but where I thought they went too far because they don't know is they said that there is no container, it's just the temperature that kept everything in. Well, I don't care if it's cold up there or warm up there, you still need a container for gas pressure.
Anyhow, there's a container holding the vacuum, hold the other pressure away. It's a container keeping the pressure out as well. And this, or I don't know if you call it experiment, but thing he's doing.
Yeah, there's always going to be a container.
Exactly. So it's just a mute point to say it's the cold doing this or it's not the cold doing that. It's really the container that even allows that next conversation. As in the picture here, this guy's doing it in the container.
I have a question, by the way, for you guys concerning this pressure and everything. So we kind of have established that water starts basically boiling and dissolving into gas when the pressure goes down to a certain level, right? Right?
Yeah. There's another video where he shows that.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question on that. So has it ever been measured what actually happens temperature-wise to the water while it evaporates? Does it actually boil? does it actually reach that exact boiling temperature? Or is it just not related to a boiling effect due to temperature?
I think the air gets sucked out.
Actually, this was the same video. I was misunderstood. This was the exact same video that he shows the water boiling in the vacuum.
Right.
And
But
I
I'm
don't know.
wondering what the temperature of that water is.
Well, he's got a thermometer. He's got a thermometer in.
Yeah, it showed it a minute ago.
Yeah, here, I'll go back to this one. This one shows it. Like here, let me see if I can find where it starts out. Okay, I'll just start right here because it shows on the. If you can, I'll blow it up. You can see it's 19. It says 19 degrees Celsius, or 100, I guess it's 19 degrees Celsius. I would assume it's not even hotter than that. But as you, Lily, I'm doing something right now. Just hang on, just a second. Welcome to my world. But anyway, if you watch it, I'll click through. The temperature drops as the more the vac he's pulling more temperature or more atmosphere out. See, you got the gauge over here to the left, so you can see as
the temperature drops
in the water. Yes, I'm
when
gonna
the
get off.
pressure decreases.
Yes, in the water. Yep.
So how is it then dissolving eventually? That is very bizarre. Is the effect still there once the water really starts to dissolve? Is it still that temperature, or does it then start to raise?
No, it got down to, as you can see now, it's even lower.
What?
Sorry, I'm trying to stay mute so Lily won't be talking over us. But the more pressure is reduced, the lower the temperature gets in the water.
That just blew my mind.
So here, I'll show you.
Lily agrees.
Whoop.
That's totally not what I expected.
I know, ain't that crazy? Sorry, I'm gonna go on mute. Sorry. Sorry.
The next generation is getting ready to participate in the flat earth debate.
What?
Can't present it if you're playing it, unfortunately, Paul. Hopefully.
Yeah, the description says.
Thank you, Paul.
Says you can get it. Wait, let me read it again. Okay, show how low the boiling point of water can go and get it to freezing temperature, although it never actually freezes in this experiment. That's what I said in the description.
Of the video that was just being played by Paul?
I think it's the same one. I watched it on my.
I'll drop the video in the Discord and also in the Hangout chat so everybody can have it.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey, Nathan,
It reminds me of that thing.
Go on, Righteous Force.
Go on.
Go
No,
on,
I just
Ted,
thought of another one of the changing stories. Just a while back ago, they said the moon was in the Earth's atmosphere. So that's another change.
Come on.
If you
Come
manage
on,
a
guys.
team, you
It's not everybody excited that they found the tapes.
They found what?
The tapes, man. They found the moon tapes, man.
Did they? Who had them?
So,
all right, let me round out this point quick. You guys remember when Bob on Globebusters showed like how pyramids can if you keep a pyramid under a water bottle, you can and put it in the freezer, the water won't freeze. But then when you take the water bottle out and you tap it hard, the water starts freezing before your eye. So that description reminded me of that.
Fascinating.
I don't know if it's true or not, but
I've heard it before. I've never tried it out myself, but
yeah, I want to try.
I did see a video of that.
It works with distilled water. So in order for the first crystal to form, you need an imperfection for it to crystallize around, and then that process will then work exponentially on from there. It's a chain reaction, basically. Well,
Yes.
if you have completely pure water, it won't freeze, not because it's not cold enough, but because there's nothing for the first crystal to form around. So if you then take the bottle out and give it a tap, you can normally start the process rolling, and it will take, I don't know, 2 seconds. It's really visually cool watching it turn to... You can pour it as well. That's also quite cool as it's happening, which is... You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with distilled water when you freeze it, but it's visually appealing watching shit like that happen, I've got to be honest. Very cool stuff.
Well, I got a distiller, so I think I want to try that now.
As long as you've got a clean enough bottle, get perfectly clean, sterilised bottle, then yeah, you should be able to chuck it in the freezer, and then get it well cold, take it out, take the lid off, give it a tap, and watch it freeze, or pour it through the dirt in the air.
Huh. I was just moments away from running to the store to get a pyramid refrigerator.
I don't know about the pyramids bit, certainly the distilled bit.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm skeptical a bit too.
There's your triangulation.
Stick to the Musa gags.
Come on, I'm waiting for someone from Discord to come and say the Earth has curve.
Hey, want to hear some really weird story that it just came to me?
Sure.
Concerning pyramids. Right. So people must have heard by now of the Indian cosmology, the references to the flying cities, right?
No.
No, you never heard of it? Ever?
From my memory, maybe. It doesn't ring any bells.
Right. It's in their mythical or historical religion. There's stories written about it, and there's some suspicion that there may be something to it, as it were. But I've just been thinking, okay, if pyramids actually are electricity generators, as I've proposed, concerning giants, how that will entangle. Well, maybe those flying cities were kind of like using the pyramids, since there is energy projected upward as well. Maybe they were using them as energy loading stations.
You should write sci-fi.
I know.
Okay.
Loading stations.
Yeah, like pump stations for floating cities.
You remind me of Back to the Future, where he wrote that book and he got famous for the sci-fi book.
Yeah, I can make drawings of this, potentially. Would make excellent sci-fi drawings or fantasy drawings. Floating cities above pyramids. Anyway, yeah, that was just something that popped in my mind. So, not making any direct claims of it, of course, but yeah, if there is energy technically projected upward above the pyramid, then something could potentially feed into that energy, use it to charge itself.
Did you ever hear that movie came out sort of recently? I think it was called Mortal Engines, I think. Something about kind of like what you talk about, like cities, mobile cities that are running around warring with each other.
Yeah, exactly. And freaking nuking shit with death rays and everything.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to look at it because it looks interesting. But it reminds me of what you were just talking about.
Well, okay, that's interesting because that is the original part of the original ancient mythologies or history, one could speculate, that comes out of the ancient Indian historical religious archives, as it were. That's where that came from, the floating cities.
So this is what happens in the absence of globers defending their globe.
I don't know, there might be some globers in the Discord server. I don't know their persuasions. I don't know the people in Discord that well.
I'm getting familiar with some of it now because I hang around after the show usually.
So who's a Glober?
Right now, I don't know anybody from now.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
We hear you, yes.
Oh, hi, this is Rodney. No, not a Glober, flat earther. I did have something I wanted
we
to talk
want
about. If that's
Globers.
okay.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Hope head in for the day.
I think Arwen's doing a good job. He can be Arwen Globehead.
Don't call me that. I'll just be presupposing. Sure. What would you like me to presuppose?
The curve of the Earth. Let's go.
All right.
Why
Okay.
Do we have to do this?
Well, no one.
I was saying the same thing. Oh God.
No one's coming in.
No offense to
we
Arwen.
might- well,
He's no Johnny Globehead, is he? Let's be honest.
Thank God. So yeah, are the curve, right?
Yeah, where is it?
Right. Well, let's
Yes,
just.
the curve.
I'm gonna forward something that I don't can't really pinpoint it. Tried to convince me. It's like they asked me when I was young on several occasions, what would it require in order for you to believe?
How about the curve?
They asked me for my arguments for the curvature and saw how I would improvise it. And one of the things that I basically conceptualize at first, that's very easy to hold on to, is just like, yeah, optics just don't allow you to see the curvature.
Wait, are you explaining a thesis, or are we going to go role play here?
This is my presuppositional argument. There's just no way to see it because
Okay.
optics does not allow it.
Well, then how'd you
The
get
only
your
way
math?
you can measure it.
Okay, let's go there. So your math says 8 inches per mile square, but you say optically you can't see it. So let's go by the math. How come
I do not support any machinations that make such claims.
Oh, okay.
How easily is that?
Because
Nice.
it presupposes that you could see the curvature, and I'm specifically claiming that optics do not allow it.
Fine. I
Makes it
accept
impossible.
that. I accept you conceding that point. So now change your math. Don't say you got measurements.
I don't have math.
Oh, okay. So it's not 25,000 circumference broken down to 8 inches per mile square then.
Well, that's what they say.
So what do you say?
I don't know for sure, but it could be, I guess. I'd have to actually confirm it.
It could be what?
A globe, I guess?
Yeah, but if you don't have math and you can't see it, why are you presupposing it's round when water is level? Shouldn't you go by the water being level as more of a guide than the no math for the globe?
Well, I don't know. It's just that a lot of money has been spent to basically try to get some kind of proof for it visually, and then ended up in a picture of the globe once.
A lot of money is spent on movies too, Arwen.
Talking of money being
No,
spent,
I'm
right?
talking. No, I'm talking about the non-digital photo, which
Shout out to
from a
Paul Hall.
non-presupposi-
Sorry to interrupt. Shout out to Paul Hall, who says, shout out to Johnny Globehead. Hey, Jose, how you doing?
Hey, sorry, rookie mistake.
Can
No
I
worries.
continue?
I just want to tell you about this payment issue. So there's this dude and he just would not pay. And the Emperor's excuse was that he couldn't see the clothes. And I said, just like you are, when I was like, look, optics don't allow you to see the clothes. Just pay me. And he wouldn't have it.
Right. Well, if you'd had to choose and you thought you didn't have grip on the world, then would you just feel forced to just go with that for the time being?
You have no idea how long it took to make those clothes that you couldn't see. It took a long time. And a lot of invisible thread.
I don't know. I would have to touch the fabric to confirm there's anything there. But if I wasn't allowed to, then there was just no way for me to go with that, and I don't want to get into trouble with the government stating that the emperor has no clothes. I'm still, by the way, from the presuppositional angle here.
Hi Adam, how you doing?
But the clothes are ethereal. They're just heavenly. You can't touch them.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Paul. And see, Paul already knows. You could feel them, but they were so soft that it was like they weren't even there. It was amazing. Really, really soft.
Well, I'll leave that to the emperor then. If he likes those clothes,
Tell him to pay. He's got a bill outstanding.
There might be
You don't have an invisible elven cloak on laced with elven magic.
I got a question.
well, not that I'm gonna share with you guys.
Go on, Jose. Jose's got a question. Let's end this
What's up,
nonsense.
Jose?
Hopefully, globe
What's
related.
up, Choco? Choco was angry because I was in the chat earlier saying, I am 80-20 now, convinced that the moon landings happened. I was 50-50 before, now I'm like 80-20. And Chocolate was angry.
820, which way?
820, 80% that they did happen now. After a few hours long research yesterday, I saw a lot of footage that I never seen before and big archives with like hundreds of pictures. I don't know. They look legit to me. It's up to interpretation.
Why
Question.
don't you share them with them? Let's do some critical analysis.
I was just about to say, do you know how we debunk it? Do you know how we debunk it, Jose? Just rather than leaving
the medium of the space. But really quick before we go to the medium of space or the vacuum, whatever. That's kind of my question because the flat Earth debate has evolved. Because back in the day was, what do you need as for evidence that the Earth is a globe? And I heard this argument proposed many times. Oh, I gotta see a rocket launch from takeoff up to the space until you can see the Earth as a sphere. I mean, it's true. I'm not misinterpreting because that was kind of one of my requirements before.
Are you missing 2015, Jose? How sweet.
Exactly. But
nostalgia. That's
still,
just like when computer games first came on the market, Jose.
But you know what the fun fact is that not everybody watches this show where it's the one that began this quest of vacuum or the antecedent or the gas pressure question, right? So many people still request for this piece of evidence or rocket launch taken until they see the Earth as a sphere. I found a few clips of that. I don't know. I don't have too much time, but I'll share it later. I'm just letting you know that I found the evidence, and yeah, I'll present it somewhere.
Yeah, you're 4 years too late, really, because we would just laugh and say, yeah, how do you have gas pressure? How are we breathing if the sky is a vacuum? And that would be the end of that argument, pretty sharpish.
Yeah, that's weak. That's weak. You know what? I cringe a lot when Jen Panda presented the moon landings and QE went after debunking. But what he presented a straw man, and that was like really weak. But I appreciate the time. I'm out of here. Thanks.
The straw man? No, he debunked the medium. It's like someone saying, let's argue about how the snow is formed given the time dilation problems in Narnia. And I turn around and say, yeah, Narnia is not real, and here's why. And that's what John did. He just went, yeah, they can't be going to a rock in the sky because they claim that the place they're going to necessitated a journey through a medium that can't exist, i.e. a sky vacuum. Why can't it be a vacuum? Well, the gas would fill the space. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. It would expand into it. So that's why that moon landing that you're 80-20 sure is happening definitely didn't happen. It's like the quickest debunk ever. You don't need to address any of the bullshit that they claim. The story, the just so story, gets immediately brushed to one side. Oh,
isn't that why NASA rewrote space science, Nathan, and extended the atmosphere all the way to the moon just because of a response to
maybe
debate?
I don't know. I wouldn't like to take that sort of credit, but it makes absolutely no odds because they need an open system to be sending out Voyager and traveling to Mars, and it's an open system. So the problem isn't the extent of the gas pressure gradient, because the antecedent still needs to be there. You still need to have something to press on to have gas pressure. And if the thing that is, well, let's say it's beyond the moon in their world of bullshit spinning spheres, well, the same principle applies. It's still an open system. It's still going to be able to disperse into space if it's an open system. That's their problem. They're either...
Oh, you mean if I push it to the moon, the problem doesn't go away?
No, not in the slightest.
Why did Jose take off? I was going to ask him since he likes pictures. I give him video of the 3 eyewitnesses who went to the moon who look like they're talking at a funeral.
Jose doesn't like having his toes held to the fire.
I mean, if you're going to go with pictures and videos, you might as well go to the first interview that these 3 astronauts did, where the body language is anything but excited about going to the moon for the first time.
Right, and what are they contradicting themselves on? Oh, the medium, and what they experienced in that medium that we say can't possibly exist because it violates several natural laws. Well, what do you know? Where did the contradictions in their story come? Oh, when they were describing what they saw in the medium that can't exist. Shock, horror. So yeah, they didn't travel to a vacuum. The sky is not a vacuum. Outer space is fake. That's why their contradictory stories were so prevalent when describing that medium. Oh yeah, we could see the stars. No, we couldn't see any stars. Here are the star charts we used to navigate. We didn't need to navigate. It was all automated. You know, the contradictions are all about what happened in the medium.
Yeah, I had my brother. My brother works for the in the Army for military intelligence, and I had him watch that video because one of the things he has to do, he has to interview and talk to people and to be able to determine if they're lying or not as part of the process. And I had him watch that video, and he goes, "This is interesting." He wouldn't go any further than to just saying that. Basically, like them saying that's our collective. He said even one phrase that said it caught his attention was their collective memory, like.
Their collective brainwashing memory and script writing and repetition of what they've been told to say. If I'll top that, I'm sorry, Paul, to do this to story top you, but check out Richard D. Hall, where he has a guy go over the interviews from the astronauts and analyse them for exactly that, do a full-on forensic critical analysis of all of their interviews. And the conclusion he came to was that it's a very high likelihood that they're lying. Now, he also put his little spin on what they might be lying about and why they might be lying, which, to be perfectly honest, seemed like a bit above and beyond. But given that he's just as brainwashed as everyone else, he noted how shocked he was to discover that they seemed to be lying about something and wasn't prepared to commit to what. But check it out. It's I can't remember the exact title, but it's on Richard D. Hall's channel, and it's essentially it's a 3-part analysis with this dude that he paid several $100s to do this analysis, and it's the same dude that the police would use to do forensic analysis on people's statements. So he's hired by the police out in the States, and Richard D. Hall, this Brit, also hired him to do the same exact job, but with the interviews from all of the astronauts who are alleged to have landed on the moon for the first time. So there you go. That's Richard D. Hall's channel. Check it out.
I saw that. Right? It was good.
Is that the same guy?
Just a magical resurgence of the moon, huh? The moon tapes got found miraculously. Now Jose comes in and he's like, yeah, I found some evidence that it's got me to 80-20 on the moon landings. Like, oh, it's so awesome. Especially because, it's 50 years since the first time we went up there. Bullshit.
I heard another fantastical tale about just, on YouTube auto scroll, and someone came on and they were saying, along with the telemetry data, the other reason that all the calculations and everything aren't there is because, and they come up with a real novel story. It was done by this quiet black woman who sat in a room with a pencil and a piece of paper and did all the calculations and for traveling to the moon and all the orbital projections. No computers were used, just this one old woman did all the maths on her own. Another reason for why all of the calculations aren't there. She just did it all for him.
Have you not seen that movie that came out recently? It was about the black women that were involved with NASA and all that stuff. I think that's what he's saying.
I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's just another letter, so you can't undo it. Oh yeah, she was just writing it down, and we took her word for it. She was good at maths, so we sent her on a rocket because she was good at maths.
You seen the gossip going by in the chat from Frodo? I don't know how to say that. Shall I read it? Yeah, why not? Ruhif is Steve McRae's lawyer. And it sounds serious. Apparently, Ruhif is a multi-millionaire in the top 100 richest over 40s in Australia or something. Nathan Oakley. Kyle is going to lose all. Is that so? I tell you what, I couldn't give a shit. But thank you for letting me know, Frodor.
That was like a current affairs update, Nathan. It went totally over my head because I don't get involved. But
well, I covered it on one of the debates. So when it was like hot news that non sequitur were having a tiff, we covered it as like the theme of the day. So that's like, in other news.
In other news, the girls were having a fight in the playground.
Exactly.
Wasn't Ruhif on our show when I told him my greenhouse was acting as a container and he said it's not?
Yeah, that's the guy. Shout out to MC Universe. If you want to know about Vax, come on, Blair, dangers, look up the Voltron Infirma. I can't read that. It's too much glare on my screen. I'm really sorry. Joe, there's loads of strange surnames. Limbrino is a genius. I'm so sorry to have butchered your super chat, MC Universe, but thank you very much for your support. Also, shout out to Retro Bill. Hopefully it'll move up a couple of inches. There we go. Ballers are like atoms. They make up everything. Like it, Retro Bill. That's great. Shout out to Earth is seriously fat. Come on, a couple more chats so it moves up. Come on. Read the first word and guess what it is. Globe zombies mesmerized by spinning balls. And then a load of emojis. Thank you very much for the super chat, one and all. Thanks, Earth is seriously flat. Really appreciate your support. Well, that bit of gossip and super chat shout out killed the conversation, eh?
That super chat was the Fullerton Informer, which I think is like a website for stories, alternative news site. So I think it's probably got a list in there of vaccine dangers.
I've just brought it up on my actual iPad, which is much closer, and I can actually read it. If you want to know about vax dangers, look up the quote Fullerton Informer. Joe Imberino is a genius.
The easiest way to debunk a vax is I asked somebody for scientific evidence for their safety, and they gave me this long article filled with word salad, and then I was like, wait a second, I know the scientific method. So I hit Control F for the word hypotheses, and then guess what it said? The hypothesis was dismissed by a committee, not by experiment. So that was that. It was that simple.
Like a lot of medicine, it's not necessarily scientifically proven. It tends to be a probability, a causational relationship which affirms its use. The interesting thing with vaccines, both in the UK and in America with the FDA, is medicines are strictly regulated. The level of data that you have to collect, whether it's correlational studies or whatever, has to be pretty robust and strong enough to
you cut out. Strong enough to someone's come up and assassinated him
against any kind of major negligence. So, for example, thalidomide, you couldn't get away with thalidomide. Compensation had to be paid. But the interesting thing with vaccines is that both the US and UK governments exempt the pharmaceutical companies from any form of litigation in their use, which is interesting by the way vaccines are exempted from ordinary validity.
Telling, not interesting. Telling.
Yeah.
Shout out to David Gafford, who says, firmament is key, second day creation. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for the super chat, David Gafford. And also, another shout out as it generated that little flew of conversation, again to MC Universe. Once your super chat was read out a bit more accurately, developed a bit of conversation. Thanks again for the super chat. Shout out to Colin Turner. He says, shout out to the Adam Meakin. A real flat earth hero. I agree.
Oh, thank you. I'm shitting it for tonight still, though. I'm expecting a savaging tonight, Nathan.
So if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley channel right now, you can literally tune out of this show and go and watch Adam Meakin over on Iron Realm Media Live. Isn't that wonderful to plug a show that's going on at exactly the same time as this one? No, check out Iron Realm Media. They are live right now if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. And obviously for the 235 people watching, you know, you've watched it anyway. Go and watch Adam's show. If you haven't subscribed to Iron Realm Media, Adam, are you watching the live chat? If you can stick a link into any video on Iron Realm Media, I'll approve it so that people can go and subscribe to you. It's highbrow but good fun. Lots of intelligent conversation along with a good laugh as well. Also some dick and fart jokes occasionally.
Those are the best, though.
Thank you very much, Nathan. That's really kind of you. I've posted the Iron Realm channel in the chat there, guys. That'd be great. I mean, tomorrow's 10:30. I was referring to them on Ranty's round table tomorrow night, doing the 8 inches per mile my curvature calculation, which I know is a supposition. I'm begging the question, but it was something that I started out when we all start on this journey, lost on unknown. Obviously, I was at most at home, starting with a bit of maths to prove that the Earth is a ball, and reassure myself that it was all nonsense, this flat Earth stuff. So that's where I started. So it's just going to put that out there tonight, and hopefully it's of some use. Particularly, I think, you know, when we're doing these calculations, that's what it was designed for. Before all this stuff came out, and all we had was 8 inches per mile. When people, I think it's happening now. I think before I joined, you were saying people are questioning its validity. So hopefully, whilst it's not there to reify anything, it is there at least to have accurate measurements if you are going to attack the ball model. The ramble.
I've spammed the live chat with a link to Iron Realm, so go and subscribe to him immediately, and then be here or be sphere if you're watching this on the premiering stream. But make sure you come back for the after show. Don't stay there indefinitely. I'm only joking. Just make sure you go and subscribe to them now if you are watching live. Keep up the great work, says Amanda Young. Thank you very much for your support, Amanda. Really appreciate it. So yesterday talking of the Uncut and After show, which went out on the channel this is live now on, so obviously if you're watching this now on Nathan Oakley channel, you're already subscribed. But on this channel last night, there was these two dudes that gave me one being Sam and the other I think was JQ, and JQ,
Sam Hine and JQ.
And was it it is JQ, isn't it?
Yeah.
And JQ said, I'll give you $100 super chat if you ban Brenda. That's what he said. And I had to say, look, yeah, I'm poor and I really want a new projector, but look, no, I'm not going to do it. And then he ended up giving me $100 super chat anyway and was like, take your wife out for a meal. So I literally went into the next room, woke my wife up, and I'm like, you're going out for a steak. Someone's insisted from the super chat that I take you out for dinner. So we're going out for dinner. So I will, as soon as my car's back from the mechanics, I'm going to take her out for dinner. Thank you very much indeed. It's JQ. Is that right?
JQ,
there he is. You're welcome. He smashed the super chat to say you're welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, my wife's made up. And again, a massive thank you to Sam as well. So just saying to those two guys, I assume JQ's a guy. Probably not. Maybe it's a woman. I have no idea. Just to shout out the other super chat that's gone by. So Earth is seriously flat. Be smart and perform daily globations. Viva FE. Thanks for the super chat. But yeah, between those two, that yesterday's Uncut and After show was like the most profitable show I've ever done. I've been on YouTube for 11 years. That was the most profitable show I've ever done, ever. Couldn't have come at a better time, as I'm really poor, having just bought a car and getting it fixed up and stuff. But, you know, it's just nice when these things are synchronous. You know, you're gaining a bit more money out of YouTube and you're spending a bit more money on new things that you need to keep YouTube running or keep your time available to do YouTube in the case of the car. So I'm really chuffed. You know, things are actually going well for a change. Life is pretty sweet. I'm really happy, and it's down to the people, most importantly, watching the show, because if they weren't there wouldn't be anybody willing to give me support. But obviously the people who do give me financial support, I'm eternally grateful to them. I try and thank absolutely everybody. You know, if they send me PayPal money or they support me on Patreon, I try and get in touch with every single one of them. I'm a bit crap with PayPal, so I've been shouting them out actually verbally on the show, because every time I go to sign in on the iPad, it kicks me out and asks me to approve the device. So then you wait for an email which doesn't come, you lose track, get on with something else, and end up not responding to the new Patreons. So I thought, sod it, I'll just shout them out actually on the show. That's super easy, and I can just have the list on the PC ready to go each day and just refresh it. So that's what I have been doing. So I really am genuinely grateful, and I'd like to thank everybody that actually supports me, because I wouldn't be doing it. This show is entirely driven and run by the people who watch it and support it. So, you know, if you don't shout them out, it's seriously ungrateful if you ask me. I know other people don't, and that's their prerogative, but for me, I am genuinely grateful. You know, it almost brings me to tears, because I love doing what I do. This is fantastic. You know, it might seem like I'm very aggressive or forthright when I'm arguing with a globehead. Doesn't mean I don't absolutely love doing this, and the fact that the people watching support me to do it means the world to me, in all sincerity. So thank you, and another big shout out to JQ and to Sam Hine for yesterday's enormous super chats.
Well, I think you're doing good work, man, and I think you deserve it. So, shout out to Sam Hine and JQ.
So you says you might be a toff playing it down. Toff. I was trained by some voice actors, so while I sound quite posh, I was actually born and raised in quite a rough part of Birmingham. So you'll occasionally hear it coming through, especially when I'm angry. But yeah, I had voice and speech training from what's her name? The woman off LOLO. If you're a Brit, you'll know Helga. Whatever her name is, she taught me not only how to crack a whip, but she gave me voice and speech lessons. So, you know, I'd hope I'm reasonably eloquent as a result of that. But it's nothing to do with me being posh or, you know, having a rich upbringing. I wasn't. I was raised in a rough part of Birmingham, so far from it. Another couple of super chats have gone by. It's been a good day for super chats. Wow. Thank you very much to Colin Turner again. When the history of FE is written, this channel will be seen as key. I don't know about that, Colin. And that's down mostly to you, Nathan. I don't know. I think it's down mostly to the people watching again, I've got to be honest. But thank you. I really appreciate the sentiment. And another massive shout out to Tina Baker. Thank you very much. She says, you deserve it. Great content. I'm a bit embarrassed. Thank you so much. All of your support's flooding in at the moment. Thank you ever so much. All the compliments, I'll take them. You know, slightly overwhelmed. Thank you very much. I'll have to stop saying thank you now.
Well, let's just make you cringe once more. I love you and all, Nate. Mate, to be fair, your modesty aside, you give us all a great platform. You constructed it and you've put the effort in. And I think more importantly, when people are talking about these super chats coming in and the jealousy you'll see, you took a risk, a personal risk, for a passion and something you believe in. And I think it's great when you see those super chats coming in, that all the hard work you do put in, that people don't see after the show's end and all that you do get a little reward, and maybe Paula gets a nice steak out of it. I think it's the bare minimum you deserve, pal.
Just had another super chat from Retro Bill and another one from Pitch Black Riddick.
Yeah.
Pitch Black Riddick.
Come on,
right, that's,
come on, get Paula a mushroom sauce.
I will. So I'll just read out Retro Bill super chat. It says, Nathan is the man behind the man behind the man. I don't know what that means, but thank you very much for the support. And again, thanks Pitch Black Riddick for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. So I'm actually going to round out this live show. If you are watching on the Nathan Oakley channel, there is a second live show today. They both get switched off, and then these go out on Saturday and Sunday on the premiering stream. So this is the end of the Saturday show. So if you are watching on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, as I say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, and of course a massive thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. and all that good stuff. I'm going to have to go back to my screen. There's another few people who've smashed the super chat in the meantime. So another shout out to Ninja Man. I agree, Nathan. This show's no nonsense approach has changed the argument. Well, thank you very much, Ninja Man. Really appreciate your support. Also, thank you for the super chat. Jordan for America. My kids and I love you. Keep up the good work. Wow, God. Thank you very much, Jordan for America. Really appreciate your support also. And Del West Watson says, I'll get in on this one. I'm totally overwhelmed today. I'm going to go and tell my wife in the break. Anyway, thank you very much again to Del West Watson. Also, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in to this live stream. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. Check out nathanoakley.com if you want to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, very grateful Nathan Oakley today, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!